You know that gut feeling you get when something just isn't right? Nora felt it the very moment she stepped into the house. The lights were bright. The music was loud. The people were laughing, dancing, celebrating. And the money? Too good to say no to? But what Nora didn't know was that not a single one of them was human. There was once a woman in Kuwait named Nora. Back in the 1990s, she was one of the most sought-after wedding singers in the entire region. Her voice sweet as honey, powerful, soothing, unforgettable. Brides dreamed of having her perform on their special day. Her name alone could fill halls and light up the faces of the rich and famous. Nora sang for royalty, for the wealthy, and for families of influence. Her fame brought her luxury, comfort, admiration, and everything she ever dreamed of. Until one night changed her life forever. It was supposed to be her week off, a well-earned rest for her and her all-female band. 6 talented women, exhausted after months of back-to-back weddings and performances. They had promised each other no shows, no rehearsals, no music, just rest. Then the phone rang. On the other end, a woman's voice, calm, polite, but oddly cold. "Is this Nora?" "Yes, this is she. I'd like to hire you to sing at my daughter's wedding, tonight." Nora hesitated. "Tonight? I'm sorry, it's our only week off." But the woman interrupted her. "I will pay double. Whatever your usual rate is, double it." The amount she mentioned was shocking, far more than any wedding had ever paid before. Nora paused. Money like that was hard to turn down. "All right," she finally said. "We'll be there." She hung up and quickly called her band members. At first, they complained tired, wanting rest. But once Nora mentioned the payment, their exhaustion vanished. Rest could wait. They packed their instruments, loaded the car, and set out into the night. The address given to them was in a part of the town none of them recognized, a secluded area far from the city lights. As they drove, Nora felt something strange tugging at her heart. A quiet unease. A whisper of doubt. But she brushed it aside. "It's just nerves," she told herself. "It's only another performance." After a long, confusing drive through dim, narrow roads, they finally arrived. Before them stood a magnificent villa, enormous, glowing with lights, laughter spilling to the night air. Cars lined the driveway. Guests moved in and out, dressed in shimmering gowns. It looked like a night of pure joy. At the door, they were greeted by the same woman who had called. Nora recognized her voice instantly. But when the woman kissed her cheek in welcome, Nora flinched. Her skin, it wasn't soft like human skin. It was hard, rough, almost like stone. Her clothes looked ancient, heavy, as if they belonged to another century. Nora forced a smile, hiding her discomfort. They were led to a small room to prepare dusty furniture, old mirrors, a faint smell of decay. The women exchanged uneasy glances, but said nothing. They changed into their performance outfits, tuned their instruments, and stepped out to begin. The moment Nora began to sing, the crowd poured in. Women filled the hall, laughing, clapping, spinning with joy. The air was electric. The praise was endless. But soon, something felt wrong. The room grew hotter, stiflingly hot. Nora wiped sweat from her brow and kept singing. Then one of her band members leaned close and whispered, trembling, "Nora, their skin. It's rough. And their bodies, they're burning hot." Nora had noticed too, but she didn't want panic to spread. "They've been dancing," she whispered back. "It's nothing. Stay focused." They continued. But the crowd's movements began to change. The dancing, once graceful, turned wild, chaotic, unnatural. Their bodies jerked and twisted in ways no human could move. And then one of the girls on stage gasped, her eyes wide. "Their feet," she whispered. Nora's eyes followed. What she saw made her blood run cold. Some had feet like goats. Others had twisted limbs bent backward, as if their bones were wrong. It was horrifying, and yet the guests kept dancing, laughing, glowing faintly in the dim light. The band faltered, voices trembling, instruments shaking in their hands. Nora raised her voice, signaling them silently. "Keep going. Pretend everything is fine." Then suddenly one of the band members collapsed. She fainted mid-song and hit the floor. The music stopped. Nora rushed to her side, heart pounding, forcing a nervous smile as the crowd stared. "She's fine," Nora said quickly. "Just tired. We've been performing non-stop for weeks. She just needs water." With the help of another band member, she carried the unconscious girl into the resting room and shut the door. The moment the door clicked shut, the unconscious woman sat up, eyes wide with terror. "Did you see them?" she gasped. "Their feet, Nora, they're not human." The room went silent. Nora finally spoke, her voice low. "I saw it too. I didn't want to say anything, but now I'm sure. We're performing at a jinn's wedding." The words hung heavy in the air. The women began trembling. One started crying. Nora took a deep breath. "Listen to me," she whispered. "If we run, if we panic, they'll know. We have to act normal. We'll finish the performance until dawn, then leave quietly. Inshallah, we'll be safe." Her words gave them strength, just enough to go back. They stepped onto the stage again, faces pale, hearts racing. They played every note, every song pretending to smile while inside they were dying of fear. The women in the crowd danced even harder, spinning, laughing, their voices echoing unnaturally. The air smelled of smoke and perfume mixed together, dizzying, suffocating. Nora felt something watching her, something ancient, something evil. And then one of her band members screamed. The entire hall froze. The laughter stopped. Hundreds of glowing eyes turned toward them at once. Nora's breath caught in her throat. Every second felt like an eternity. In her heart, she made a desperate plea. "Ya Allah, if you save me from this, I swear I will never sing again. I will change my life. Just save us." And then mercy descended. The sound of the Fajr Adhan began to echo from a nearby mosque. The call to prayer, soft yet powerful, filled the air. The lights in the villa flickered once, and then went out completely. Darkness. And in an instant, the crowd was gone. No footsteps. No laughter. No sound. Nothing. The band didn't wait. They grabbed their instruments and ran. Out the door, down the path, gasping for air as the cool night embraced them. Outside it was calm. Peaceful. As if none of it had ever happened. Then in the distance they saw an old man walking slowly toward the mosque. When he saw them, a group of terrified women running from the villa, he stopped in shock. "What are you doing there?" he asked. "Why are you coming out of that place?" Nora tried to speak between heavy breaths. We just performed at a wedding in that house." The old man's eyes widened. "What, a wedding?" he said softly. "That house has been abandoned for over 10 years. No one goes near it. People say it's haunted." Nora turned around. Her heart nearly stopped. The villa, the bright, beautiful place filled with music and light, was gone. In its place stood a crumbling ruin. Walls cracked, windows shattered, weeds covering the path. No lights, no laughter, just silence and decay. The truth hit them like ice. They had performed at a Jinn wedding. The old man shook his head. "People have heard screams from that house at night," he whispered. "May Allah protect you." Nora and her band walked away, their legs weak, hearts heavy, unable to speak. Not one of them dared look back. The next day, Nora sat alone in her room. Her mind replayed everything: the glowing eyes, the heat, the rough skin, the voice that whispered near her ear, "Don't stop singing. I love your voice." She remembered the cold kiss on her cheek, the smell of ancient dust in that resting room like it hadn't been touched for 100 years. And she remembered how they all vanished at the sound of the Adhan. Her soul knew the truth. That week, Nora made a decision that stunned everyone who knew her. She quit music completely, canceled every show, returned every deposit, sold every piece of equipment she owned. She began praying again. She turned to Allah, crying in sujood, seeking forgiveness and protection. She later traveled to Makkah, performing Umrah and Hajj, purifying her heart, seeking peace that fame could never give. The woman who once stood before thousands now stood humbly before her Creator. When people asked her why she left music at the height of her career, she would quietly tell her story, but always with tears in her eyes. Once she recorded a full video interview explaining everything that happened that night. But mysteriously, the video disappeared. The tape was never found again. Yet her story lived on, passed down through family, friends, and now across the world. Because what happened to Nora wasn't just a ghost story. It was a warning, a reminder of the unseen world that exists around us. Not every invitation is a blessing. Not every light leads to celebration. Some roads are better left untaken. The world of the jinn is real as the air we breathe. Among them are those who obey Allah and those who do not. Nora's story became a turning point, a wake-up call. What could have ended in tragedy became her path to salvation. Her message to the world is simple. Don't be deceived by glitter and gold. Trust your heart. And most importantly, trust in Allah. No matter how far you've gone, it's never too late to return. If this story touched your heart, don't forget there's always a lesson behind every shadow. Stay protected, stay prayerful, and stay aware of the unseen.